What's up guys, NottheWinner here. Just want to preface this video by saying that I'll be showing off a couple different attempts at tank builds as we're trying to figure out what works best in this new patch. And then I do come to a final build, and I'm going to put a timestamp in there and a chapter in there so you can skip straight to when I'm at that build, showing it off and starting to do things with that build. If you want to see what the other options were, feel free to stick around for the first few minutes. I've also tried with like hardened coil. I've tried with the restriction cord. Um, with the 80% being the maximum, you're not getting the damage low enough for things to feel as effective as they need to. And the enemy is still packing insane punch. So let's go ahead and, like, for example, show you guys with the hardcore metal band. We're already at 67, and this is on my crit build. So obviously it's not a full tank, but I already tried on my tank builds and saw right away it's still very, very painful. So I'll show you this one, then I'll show you one that includes the restriction coil and the hardened coil. So 3 hits. Didn't even get to stack all my bulwark. Even if you get 5 stacks of bulwark, then you're not even close to 80%. I think you're at like 74 total. So still pretty weak there. Let's go ahead and take off this one for the hardened coil. And basically just go full tank with the, well, restriction does cut your health, so it's not full tank, but in theory right here. Let's see.
Here they come.
How quickly will I die? Okay. And there's only one of them right now for whatever reason.
This ain't looking good.
Yeah, absolutely tore through my health. Oof. Not great, not great. Let's go to the next tank idea. This would be a high health tank instead, that utilizes stuff like bulwark instead of restriction coil, or maybe bulwark and restriction coil. If we want to keep the best evade roll as well, then I would say if we're going to go high health, we want probably Seal of the Empress. That puts us at 150, and then say we're using Mudtooth's Tonic as well. Right? And we're going to wait for the full heal. But essentially now, we're starting at 70 DR, right? And then, well, yeah, it's still ticking down as my health goes up from the hardened coil. We're starting at like 68% DR, 69% DR. And then, we still got a chunk left, 67 probably. And then we're going to go up as we get weaker from the hardened coil and from the hardcore metal band. And because our health is 175 instead of 130, we should be able to tank a few extra hits. So 67.4 base. Let's see how quickly I go down on a full tank build with very decent hit points.
We will end them.
Okay. Alright, so even with all the stacks of bulwark up, we still got decimated. Now there's another thing that we can implement here to try and make this a little bit more sturdy. It looks okay, but it's just not enough right now, right? So the next step here is, obviously we're only running armor on this, and we're running range crit chance and range crit damage. So if we look, we have 10% range crit chance, 50% bonus to normal crit damage, and then like the 5% crit chance from that, right? Let's go ahead and swap this over to a Tranquil Heart, so it's passively regenerating all the time, right? And then we're going to go ahead and change what's in the sockets here. I'm going to go armor. We're going to take off, well, healing effectiveness is nice, but we're going to take that one off and stick with, I guess, DR. We'll check that in a second. And then the 10% health, is that based on, so we're at 191 with that? What if I take that off? Or something random there. It's actually pretty nice 10% health. But let's try and stack some more, do we want the crit? I think we want the extra range crit, for sure. Screw it. We'll just go full tank for it now and go for the healing effectiveness. Or the, yeah, let's go health. Let's go health. Okay, so we're up to 191.3 health, right? We still, like, with the extra DR, we only went up by 1.4 to total DR from the flawless damage reduction 3.78 there, but it's still something, and it gets the ball rolling for as these ones take effect. We still have the fastest evade roll if we need it, but if we're going to go pure tank, we might want to go for even more hit points to push us over 200 and to have the flawless health effect even stronger. Or we may want to go for something that's, like, you know, going to give us the shield like the Ring of Crisis. So we have a little bit of regen from this. We have a little bit of regen from our triage, or our regrowth, I mean. And let's go ahead and check how that feels.
Kill the stranger!
Okay, guys. Better.
This ain't good.
Definitely better. You can still for sure die. Let's see, let's see. Okay. How are we going to increase the regeneration further? Because nothing here is currently giving us shield. We can take this one off since we're not going for the crits, and we can obviously swap twisting wounds. But how are we going to get more regen? Let's think about this. Could go for this one, and so I can swap off the ring. That would make me a little bit more tanky. Push me to 72 base DR. Okay. And then we no longer need the ring, and we're going to go for the heavy roll. Because it seems like my armor DR does not go down when I swap from heavy to ultra. Because the weight of this armor is ultra regardless of how you've changed it. So that's actually huge for a build like this. And then that allows us to swap this last one here to something that gives us a little bit more survivability. So that's whether we want to go for more shield opportunity like Ring of Crisis, or if we want to go for something that's going to give us more regeneration, like something where when our health is under a certain amount. It's not this one. Oh, what is it? I know exactly the one that I'm looking for, but I don't know what it looks like. Like, I know the exact effects. Here we go. Health regeneration by 0.33 per second, going below 50% health. Regeneration value of 2 per second until you're at 50% health, right? So if we stack that on, let's see how that feels. Remember, it's more and more tankiness, more and more regen each time we've tried. And since this one has such a high health, that can help as well. So let's see how this one feels. There's 2 attackers this time and no gunmen. So that's a big difference as well.
Damn. No, this ain't good.
And they get the kill there. So definitely longer life than the previous ones, but also no gunmen. They still broke me down very, very easily, right? So here's where we start substituting. Okay, was the regen enough of a change that we should keep this one in over one of these two? And what was our total DR when we were actually under half hit points with all 5 stacks? So we got to go one more time to check that stat, and then we'll know for sure exactly where we need to be.
Stand together!
Okay. So if it caps at 80, we don't need all of this. We're 4.8 over when we're at our highest. Which means we totally can substitute something out now for either more regeneration or something that's going to give us a shield when we get into a risky position, and go from there. So I'm going to go for... Hardened Coil will stay on you, whereas Bulwark stacks will fall off, but it's 25 total versus 15. Probably don't... Well, if we're stacking both, then the 15 is probably only like 4%, whereas this is like closer to 8% on the total DR and the multiplicative. So Hardcore Metal Band's going to do you a little bit better in this case. And let's go for something like Ring of Crisis to try that out. Okay. And we still have the option, as we are currently running the Alchemist, we still have the option of throwing on extra concoctions for more regeneration faster. This guy can always be swapped off for something like Medic, for example, where you're going to get more healing effectiveness. And I got to see if that still applies to Regen since this patch. Okay, so there are 3 this time. So they're going to wear me down faster. The shield was nice. It came up again.
Leave us alone.
Not too bad, actually.
You bleed as well as we.
Let's take a look. Yep. Exactly 80 when we cap it out. And you can still die, but this is quite tanky compared to what we've been running into. And bear in mind, that's without using the Heart's effect. That is going to double all health regeneration for 15 seconds. If I'm doubling it, I don't think that they can kill me. Let's go ahead and give that a try, though. And the extra 0.75 per second permanently would be very nice as well. So I'll go ahead and eat one of those in a minute as well. But let's go ahead and have my heart now. We'll go roll over here, take the heart. Sir, let me use my heart. Okay. Now let's draw this other guy too. Sir.
Stop the monsters.
Yeah, I'm over here. That was a decoy. Okay, so with this level of regeneration, now granted, it's only for 15 seconds, but whenever I do use a heart, I get an additional buff from the Alchemist as well. So let's go ahead and throw this back on to show you guys. It is much faster, and they cannot kill me fast enough as long as I have a heart active. So if you're sprinting through a zone, you can just drop a heart out of nowhere, and then you're kind of good to go there. Let's see if they can finish me off now, so we can try something else out. But it is challenging for a group of 2 to actually kill you with this setup, even without the heart bonus. It's challenging for sure. Okay, cool. They barely made it. It was about to get another shield. All right, so we're close. I think we're close on this build. Obviously, we'll see how it does against bosses. It's not going to have the damage output that we're looking for on any of the other builds, but I definitely think it has a high value to it. So we could drop seal the Empress. That would take us down by an additional 2 hit points from that. 22 less hit points for more regeneration whenever the shield comes up. Generating band? Question mark. Granted, if you're down to 25% hit points, you're likely dying next turn or next hit, but let's try and check out the generating band. Okay. So we got 4 this time. So when the shields go up, I get the additional 3. Do we go ahead and try Medic to see about the bonus healing effectiveness?
We don't want you here.
This is going pretty well with the generating band, though. I haven't had to drop a relic yet. And they're going to get me eventually, but it is 4 of them on a POC. So, very expected. Nice, okay, they got me. But, had I rolled once, had I used the heart, any of those would change that scenario completely. And the extra 0.75 regen that I have not applied yet from my concoction would 100% allow me to survive that right here. So we have that. We could always throw down a blood rod at any point to make sure we're getting just enough regen. And Alchemist, as you can see, I'm up to like 30 in my resistances now instead of 10 because of all the healing effects that are going on. So it does give you that added benefit in any fight where you're fighting against someone like that. So the extra concoctions plus all of that might be worth keeping compared to swapping this off for like Medic, for example, where yes, we can use relics a little bit faster, which is great, but also it's just like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if it's good enough. Oh, also the fact that we already have the healing thing here, and it's near maxed. So, what would I take out for that? Probably nothing. The potency, obviously, but if we swap to triage, then it's basically 7 additional points where we're not talking about potency. And we'd have extra space for something like long shot or more ammo reserves. Yeah, that's a tough call. Improving from here is the challenge in terms of tankiness. And obviously, if it can only survive 4 enemies at once, it's probably not going to be amazing against bosses. But I'm going to go ahead and get us to a boss so that we can give this one a test and you guys can kind of check it out. Okay, guys, let's go over what this build is exactly, so you guys know exactly what I'm doing here. So first off, I do have Twisting Wounds, so I can get some bleed out onto enemies whenever I crit or hit a weak spot. I do still have Firestorm on the Chicago Typewriter. Nothing has changed in terms of our weapons. Those all stayed the same from the crit build. But we did go back to Tranquil Heart with the armor. We added bonus health on this and then the damage reduction. And we are sitting at 72% DR out of the 80. Whenever we get all of our bulwark stacks, then all of a sudden we're at exactly 80% DR. So we do need to take a few hits to get that. I did try this, as you'll see, or as you'll see in the video. I did try this with a whole bunch of other options, so you guys can check that out. But we're running full Leto here. We're going Twisted Idol for the extra armor effectiveness and reduced encumbrance. Hardcore Metal Band for the bulwark as we get hit. Ring of Crisis, just in case our health gets below 25%. Generating Band to recover us insanely fast when our health gets that low. And then Reserve Boosting Gem for extra health regeneration on top of the regeneration we're already getting from Tranquil Heart and from the Regrowth trait. As far as traits go, we have Fortify, we have Regrowth, we have Potency, Untouchable, Bark Skin, and Siphoner. Bark Skin's only at 9 out of 10. That's all I really needed for the moment. And honestly, you could probably get rid of a fair chunk of that Bark Skin for something else, depending on what you're really going for. I do have Vigor maxed out. We are running Triage at 35%, so 7 levels. Long Shot at level 5, just to get some extra range with certain weapons. And Ammo Reserves at 5 for the extra 25% ammo boost. Plenty of other options here that you might prefer, though. We are running 3 concoctions. We're running the health bonus for 25 bonus health. We're running the root water for 0.75 health per second. And then we drank the Dark Cider. It only gave us 6.6% more health, but the extra movement speed is cool too, I guess. Excuse me. Overall, though, this character is built around just being tanky, handling every single hit. And you're going to see that compared to the other tank builds that we go through here. I mean, yeah, obviously way less damage, but like we're not taking any damage either. Look at that. And then the regen is just so nice. So yeah, this build is definitely working well. I know it's similar to some of my other regen builds that I've run before, but it's kind of a mixture of two, along with throwing in the hardcore metal band with that, and swapping the hit points on the relic. So very similar but very different build. But for this patch, I think this is going to be the best tank build, as you saw from the other options.
Shit, more ammo.
I'll go over the build in full detail before the next boss fight. And I'll add a chapter to the video as well, so you guys know to skip to this point, for example, to see this, versus like the first 8 minutes of testing where we're showing off all the other options and builds and how they just don't hold up against that kind of stuff. How quick that heal goes when the shield is up and all that. Oh my gosh. Below 50% with a shield up, you are flying back up. That's crazy. We're only running 3 of our potential 4 concoctions at the moment. One of them is definitely not even needed. It's just giving me like 6 extra hit points. I just figured I'd do that one for fun. And like I mentioned, this is more of a tank build. Obviously, the DPS on this compared to certain other builds is going to be much lower because you're focused on survival. It seems to work pretty well with the new expansion. An Apocalypse tank build that still works in the current meta is not easy. So, very happy to see that we still have options out there at least. So we can choose to tank that first shot without an issue. I thought I got far enough away. Whoops. What I want. Oh, whoops. Forgot to change guns. This would be something. Did I get it yet? No? So I got something that's just blocking where I would be able to see if I got my ability. There we go. The fire hurt me a lot too, not gonna lie. Easy clap. So yeah, tears through elites. Survives through all their nonsense and their attacks. I knew I heard you. Yeah, I was very excited when I read the patch notes to see if tank builds would be viable again. Most of them aren't. I'm just gonna be real with you, just most of them aren't. But if you run high enough health with high enough regen, as you can see, it can be extremely, extremely viable in the current meta. One more guy.
Alright. Come and get some.
Cool, let's get ourselves a key and go ahead and try out a basic boss. Just anything to get this one rolling so you guys get a good idea of how it feels against bosses. And honestly, like, I bet it can't even survive against the council if you're just trying to face tank. But, like, you know, if you were fighting them and dodging, shouldn't be an issue. That's one thing that I think about, like, when coming up with these builds. Can it face tank? And the goal is to make it face tank the boss and not die. A lot tougher with all the patches because they've made it a little bit tougher to stay alive, but I think this one brought some survivability back and turned a couple of the Apocalypse endgame bosses into viable high health build options because they made them a little bit weaker. I clapped too late. Whatever. Come on, council. Hey guys, so this was the first boss that we ran into. One of the first things that I noticed was I was barely taking any damage from these guys at all, but the second I began firing my weapon, their damage skyrocketed. So while the curse was active, whenever I was firing, I was taking insane damage. Otherwise, they honestly couldn't hurt me. Thankfully, I was able to show off that tankiness very early on, but then immediately was able to go into actually fighting them, killing them, and taking that bonus damage that I should have been taking the whole time. I'm going to show off two other bosses, one of which being the world boss, just so you can see just how tanky this build is now. All right, so we're over at Cotton's Kiln now, taking on Gwendolyn. And you're gonna notice that it's really tough to kill me this entire fight. I'm able to tank many, many hits. Yeah, her explosions deal a great chunk of damage, but I'm healing it very quickly. And I did have to throw in a couple dodges here and there to ensure that I wasn't gonna get, murdered by explosions. But overall, the fight relatively simple, especially when you're this tanky. Very nice to have a face tank back, and I love having this option for all of us players. All right.
Now that
So I don't expect me to be able to survive every hit from this guy.
easily slain.
So let's see how it goes. Not bad.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys can see, we can tank the hits. The damage isn't great, but I mean, as long as you keep it going, it's not too bad. And if you keep on getting hit, then you charge up your fire pretty quickly too, so that's okay.
Oh, this ain't good.
I think it's fine, to be honest. But yeah, so we haven't even used the bonus, like say I use my relic right here, right? Then we're gonna get double the regen for 15 seconds. We could throw on the bark skin so we don't get knocked down. We can throw on perfect dodges so that he can't even hit us if he wants to. So all we have to do is just move until we get full hit points again and then just reconvene. But yeah, so even on world bosses, it's not an issue at all. If you guys enjoyed the build, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and feel free to check out some of my other videos, because a lot of my old builds will be somewhat viable again. This is probably one of the best tank builds that you can go for currently in the game, though. Thanks for watching.